The Magic School Bus Kicks Up a Storm. The Magic School Bus Kicks Up a Storm, a book about weather. Let me tell you about the day Ralphie decided he was a superhero. It started one hot morning when we were sitting around the classroom. I mean, it was really hot. There wasn't a breath of air. It was the kind of day that gives new meaning to the words. When you're hot, you're hot. In spite of the heat, Carlos was working on his science project. Then entered the freeze. That's what we sometimes call our teacher, Miss Frizzle. She was wearing an amazing outfit, even for her, and she was singing. I know what we need to clear up this muggy weather, said Ralphie, looking out the window. A big thunderstorm. You mean with thunder and lightning? Asked Arnold. It was only 9 o'clock, and already Arnold was beginning to think this was one of those days he should have stayed home. The idea of a thunderstorm was giving Ralphie a brainstorm. What if I could make a thunderstorm? It would be Ralphie to the rescue. I wouldn't even be Ralphie anymore, Ralphie said to himself. I'd be Weatherman. And that's how this all started. In the next instant, Miss Frizzle brought Ralphie back to the real world. How would you like to join our discussion about weather, Ralphie? She asked. Sure, said Ralphie. Weather is my specialty. Weather is how all the air above and around us is right now. No, it's not, Carlos objected. It's water that makes the weather. You know, water isn't rain. Then Dorothy Ann chimed in. According to my research, it's air that makes the weather. Moving air, as in wind. Kisa disagreed, naturally. Let's get this straight. Heat makes the weather, as in heat from the sun. Miss Frizzle said everyone was right. Air, water, and heat stirred together make weather, she explained. Then the Frizz announced that we were going on, you guessed it, a field trip. Carlos set up his rain catcher outside just in case it rained while we were gone. We couldn't believe our eyes when we saw our bus. It looked like a weird weather machine. Ralphie was back to his weatherman thing. Before we got on the bus, he announced, I, Weatherman, will show you how to make weather. And I will even make a thunderstorm. But first, we shall explore one of weather's major ingredients, air. Excuse me, said Keisha. What's to explore? Air is all over the place. Do you think I mean just plain old sitting around air? I'm talking about moving air, said Ralphie. Then we all got on the bus. We couldn't believe that Miss Frizzle actually let Ralphie take over the controls. Maybe the heat was getting to her brain too. Ralphie pressed a button, pulled some levers, and the giant fan behind the bus turned on. The next thing we knew, the bus was rising up in the air and the top was opening up. And the next thing we knew, we all changed into super light versions of ourselves. We were floating out the top and into the air. Look at that humongous cloud, said Carlos. Too bad it's not over my rain catcher. And look how sunny it is over there, said Tim. According to my research, said Dorothy Ann, weather is different in different places. That's because various combinations of wind, water, and heat make many kinds of weather. DA really is smart, I have to admit. When we looked back at the bus, it had sprouted wings and turned into a glider. Our bus does stuff like that. The world isn't really filled with big fans, said Wanda when we were all back on the bus. So what really makes the wind? I'll answer that, said Keisha. But then Ralphie has to make a thunderstorm. What really makes wind is a combination of air and heat. The sun hits the earth. Warm earth hits the air closest to it. The heated air rises because warm air is lighter than cool air. When the warm air rises, more air has to take its place, so cool air rushes in, and this air movement creates wind. Okay, one thunderstorm coming up, promised Ralphie, back at the controls. I'll just crank up the wind, add some heat, more wind, more heat, more... Oops! The bird started spiraling up and up and up. Any normal teacher would have been worried, but not the Frizz. She was all excited that Ralphie had created the updraft. She explained that an updraft is warm air that blows up instead of sideways. It's sort of like heat waves coming out of a toaster, only much, much, much bigger. After Ralphie mixed air and heat to make an updraft, some of the kids actually started calling him Weatherman. Keisha couldn't believe it. How about clouds? Asked Wanda. Can you make clouds too, Weatherman? Why, certainly, Wanda, said Ralphie. I'll just, you know water, piped up Phoebe. Clouds are made out of water. I learned that in my old school. Then Ralphie pulled another lever, and without so much as kaboom, we turned into water. You could see right through us. Carlos even put his arm right through Arnold. The bus started changing too. It turned into a giant seltzer bottle and sprayed us out into the air. If we had been real water, the sun would have warmed us and made us evaporate into the air. But this was much more fun. Weatherman has turned us from water into tiny droplets, Miss Frizzle explained. Now she was calling Ralphie Weatherman too. Keep together, class. We are making a cloud, shouted Wanda. Thanks to me, Weatherman, yelled Weatherman. I mean Ralphie. It's cold up here, Arnold complained. I knew I should have brought a sweater. The air is so cold way up here, we're turning into ice crystals, Miss Frizzle told us. We are also falling, observed Carlos. And sure enough, he was right. Miss Frizzle explained that when ice crystals in a cloud grow and stick together, they get heavy and fall. Look at the bright side, said D.A. The lower we fall, the warmer we get. Which must be why we're melting, yelled Tim. Ralphie was really on a power trip now. Weatherman made rain, he shouted. Luckily, our bus didn't fail us. It had turned into a glider, but now it has a giant funnel on top. We rained into the funnel right back into the bus. We were kids again. Everyone thought it had been it being a cloud, then ice crystals, and then falling down as rain. But Keisha was still not impressed. Okay, Ralphie, she said, being sure to call him Ralphie and not Weatherman. So you made a little cloud and a little rain. But where's the thunderstorm? Weatherman will not disappoint you, promised Ralphie. He was at the controls again. Make an updraft, he shouted as he pulled some levers. Make a cloud, fizz the water. The wind roared. Rain poured down. Thunder boomed. Lightning flashed. Weatherman had really made a thunderstorm, and we were right inside it. Look, said Carlos in amazement. It's raining up. That's right, Carlos, said Miss Frizzle. Moist air in the rising updraft cools and condenses into clouds. If the air gets cold enough, the moisture turns to ice crystals, then snow. When the snow gets heavy enough, it falls. As it gets warmer, it turns to rain. Then Arnold pulled himself together long enough to give us all a safety lecture. Leave it to Arnold. Lightning is very, very dangerous. When you see lightning, don't stay outside and never stand under a tree. Lightning can hit anything that sticks up in the air, like trees. Believe me, you don't want to be around when that happens. The safest place in a lightning storm is indoors, which is why I should have stayed home today. Poor Ralphie was starting to look a little sick. This is too much, he wailed. I've got to make it stop. Sorry, Weatherman, said Miss Frizzle. But a storm like this won't stop until it's all rained out. Listen, I'm not really Weatherman. Ralphie sounded desperate. I'm just Ralphie. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just pulling levers to show off. The moment Ralphie pulled that last lever, the bus shrank to the size of a ping pong ball. We were all tiny. The raindrops outside looked huge. Oh no, Ralphie groaned. I pulled the shrinker scope. Now I've made things even worse. I guess Keisha felt sorry for Ralphie because she started being a lot nicer to him. Come on, Weatherman, she said. You can get us out of this. Just think. Ralphie brightened right up when he heard Keisha call him Weatherman. As Ralphie thought, the tiny bus caught in an updraft and started going up higher in the air. It was colder up there, so now there were huge snowflakes instead of huge raindrops. Ralphie started muttering to himself. Let's see, Ralphie thought out loud. The storm has to rain out. Out, down, up with the updraft. Freeze, fall, melt, melted snow falling down and out. That's it! Weatherman, will get us out of this. Liz steered the glitter bus as we all jumped off. We each grabbed our own snowflake to ride on, at least for a minute. Excuse me, said Arnold, but my snowflake's melting. We're getting rained out, yelled DA. The next thing we knew, we were raining right into Carlos' rain catcher. My rain catcher worked, yelled Carlos. It's already rained 1 inch, plus 8 kids and one teacher. The only question was, now that we were rained out, how were we going to get out? Luckily, Liz had just driven the bus into the parking lot. Miss Frizzle gave the thumbs up sign to Liz. Then Liz spilled us right out of the rain catcher. As we landed on the ground just outside our school door, we grew back to our normal size. Safely back in our classroom, we discussed what we had learned on our field trip. Wind, water, and heat can make a huge storm, began Wanda. Those same ingredients can also make a beautiful sunny day, Miss Frizzle added. It's all in the mixing. Ralphie had just one thing to add. From now on, I'm going to leave the job of making weather up to Weather Woman, shouted Keisha. Come on, Keisha, said Ralphie. You can't be Weather Woman any more than I can be Weatherman. The job is bigger than both of us. Telephone. Ring ring. Editor. Magic School Bus here. Editor speaking. Kid caller. I'm studying to be Weather Woman. Want to test me? Okay. What is weather? Casey. Weather is what the air is like above us, way up to the highest clouds, as well as all around us. Ask me another one. Editor. True or false? Most raindrops start out as ice or snow. Casey. True, and sometimes in a thunderstorm, you can even get hail, which is chunks of ice that hit the ground before they melt. Ask me one more. Editor. Okay, we talked about heat, water, and moving air, combining it to make weather, but we left out another important ingredient. Casey. Land. For example, mountains can push air up, making thunderstorms, and they can also keep rain away. Editor. That's right. Weather isn't quite as simple as weathermen made it out to be. It can get pretty complicated. Now tell me something. Are you really studying to be weather woman? Casey. Of course not. There's no such thing as weather woman. Nobody makes the weather. Editor. Not even weather lizard? How far is the storm? An activity for parents and kids. If you're right at the center of a thunderstorm, you can see the lightning and hear the thunder at almost the same time. But if you're any distance away from the center, you see the lightning before you hear the thunder. That's because the speed of light is faster than the speed of sound. Light travels faster, so you see the lightning first. You can tell how many miles away the center of a thunderstorm is by counting the seconds between the lightning and thunder and dividing by 5. Use a watch or clock with a second hand. And the time between the thunder and lightning is 10 seconds. The center of the storm is 2 miles away because 10 divided by 5 is 2. If the time is 15 seconds, the storm is 3 miles away. The more seconds you count, the further away the storm is. If you count the seconds between the lightning and the thunder a few times, and each time you count more seconds, the center of the storm is moving away, and it may be clearing up soon. If you count fewer seconds each time the center of the storm is moving toward you, if the thunder and lightning occur at the same time, the center of the storm is directly above you. Remember what Arnold told you about lightning and stay inside. The end.